3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin.
And welcome back to Chasin the Racin. And this episode is brought to you by OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, JCT Truck and Trailer Rental, and the episode sponsor for us is Dock Solar and Electrical. They're based in Wigan, specialising in solar and battery storage systems. They do only work locally within a 10-mile radius of Wigan. So, if you're in the area and you're looking for something solar and electrical storage system based, then reach out. And you can probably tell by my gravelly voice that this episode is being hosted by myself, Joe Akroyd, and possibly soon to be, but we won't jinx you, Josh Corner. How are we doing, mate? All good?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, cold and wet because we're at Alton Park for the penultimate round of the 2025 British Superbikes, and our guest today is Max Cook. How are we doing, mate?
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good. I'm going to take these headphones off right away because these aren't working. Not at all.
we just got Max to put them on his head so he could experience what we have to experience when your head rolled off.
Yeah, you guys are pros. I'm quite the amateur when it comes to this. But yeah, how would it be? It's my first time on Chasin the Racin. So,
I thought you'd been on before.
Nah, my first time. So now I feel like I've made it a little bit. Quite excited to do this one. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
No, thanks for giving the time, because I know on a race weekend it's not always, especially this weekend, it's not always easy to make the time, is it? If the weekend's not been plain sailing, and you guys have had horrendous weather conditions thrown at you for the last 2 days.
Yeah, I've got no idea. Well, I've got no idea why we ride in October, because it's really not very fun. Also, I'm quite a fair weather rider as well. You know, I like it dry or I like it wet, but above like 20 degrees. And to get that in England's quite rare. But when it's so cold and just gale force winds and
you sound like my missus trying to book a holiday. It must be sunshine every day, 20 degrees, or we don't go.
I mean, they've amped the job up a bit, haven't they, with the old severe weather warnings? And to be fair, they've tried to kind of change the schedule to mix it, but it's been awful. But it hasn't been that bad. I was expecting like Armageddon today, and I know the rain fell out of the sky at the wrong time for you guys, but it's been a wet day and a windy day, but it hasn't been
not as bad as
it's
before.
Not, yeah, Storm Amy turned out to be a bit of a pussy, really, didn't she? She didn't really
yeah.
she didn't get stuck in as bad as I thought she was going to do. So, yeah. Well, I think because we're popping your cherry, you're chasing the racing cherry, I think we need to go back to the beginning and just get a bit of a backstory on. Because how old are you?
Sure, I'm 22.
Yeah, you see.
Is that a racing age? Or is that...
No, he's a young pup.
It's actually not. It's actually really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, Wick gives me a racing age from time to time on the commentary. He'll say like I'm 20 or something. Like last year I was 19 for like the whole year pretty much. So I was like just kind of letting it go a little bit. But no, I'm 22. Yeah.
Chris Walker's still 35, isn't he? It's according to him, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, McGuinness is still under 50.
That's like Christian, isn't it? It's still 35.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know he could get a bus pass at 35.
So
where did the job start for you with motorbikes?
So it's a bit of an odd one because my dad doesn't race. He's been into track days and had a motorbike for the road. But it was kind of my granddad was quite crazy personality, and for my second birthday he bought me a like Chinese mini moto just for a laugh for like my mum and dad, just say like what I've done. My granddad, he did race at European level rallycross championships, which was pretty cool. So he's all into motorsport. My dad used to go with him and stuff. But anyway, I motorbike racing and Formula 1 was always on the TV when I was a kid. Used to love Hot Wheels cars. Used to spend all the time playing with the toys. You know, I think I was probably just a year or two off the generation where all the kids grew up on Xbox, PlayStation kind of thing. I still, didn't have a phone till I was 12. They were playing with the toys, sitting down in the living room, watching the telly with family. Basically, racing was always on the TV. So basically, when I was old enough, 6 years old, to get on the back of my dad's bike, we used to go riding. My dad was in the Air Cadets, and we stumbled across Lavington Airfield, which is half an hour away from where I live. And this M4 karting, which is where Danny Kent, Scott Redding, or Charlie Nesbitt. And they had a kids club for mini motos, just like what I had in the garage for my second birthday. But they have a kids club every Sunday morning, where you can just take your bike and ride. So it's half an hour away. So we were like, cool, we'll just give it a go. And from then on, it snowballed because Charlie Nesbitt rode there. He rode there, Fraser Rogers, and we just kept going every week. Made friends. My dad made friends, and it just snowballed. And then about a year later, I was lining up for my first race at British level in mini motos. So
what mini moto were you racing then?
I were on a GRC RR with a Plini engine.
Yeah. Because the job's changed. I was talking to the other day to try and find out what the manufacturers are. They're all Blatters now, aren't they? But do you remember when we went? Well, I don't know if it was the same when you were racing, but when I raced mini bikes, Blatters were like
the thing not to have.
They were the Chinese turds that you didn't buy with the little square seat unit on the back of them. But they're the things to have now.
Now they are. But
it
it's
was
all
GRCs,
changed.
Pellinis, Passinis.
Yeah.
Do you remember Alex Gold?
No.
No.
GRCs were like the thing when I would have been a few years the other side of mini biking when you were, but the GRCs were like the thing to have. But then like DM and stuff became popular like in recent years, didn't they as well?
Yeah.
But honestly, the job has changed loads.
A mini bike's like $5,000.
Yeah.
Without an engine.
Well, there were still cable brakes when I did it. Now they're full hydraulic. Like,
everything. Like the first bike were £400, right? And at the time, my mum was like, "Oh, he's been £400 for," like an 8-year-old. My dad was like, "Yeah, it's cool. So just the first one, and But yeah, now I've gone back. I do a bit for Danny Webb's GP camp, for the kids' school. And now it's proper high tech stuff. Now the bikes they're riding, they've all got the full works. Stuff, even stuff like custom leathers as well. All the lads, all the kids now got custom leathers. You can just get. I didn't have a custom suit till I was about 15, 16.
Like record suits, I think. Like record were the ones that we used to have. Yeah,
I had GI Moto or whatever. There was some mini moto suit where they were like no leather at all on them. There was just a few
fabric with leather on.
Yeah, it was all fabric suit. Yeah, that used to get wringing wet. But so.
The good times.
Yeah, the good times. Yeah.
You still ride any mini bikes now then? Like obviously I know you maybe like pit bikes or something, but like actually when was the last time you'd have rode a mini moto?
So when I since COVID I've moved up north now with my girlfriend.
Hang on. But where's up north?
What do you class as up north?
Sorry guys.
If you say Derbyshire, then we're going to fall out because that's not.
Well, we're going to fall out.
Well, in all fairness, I'm okay with you saying that's the north. That's past.
From where I'm from, though.
Yeah, anywhere north of. Actually, no. Anywhere north of Donington, I suppose that is just Derbyshire, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm. Donington, pretty much, right? But from where I'm from, which is by Thruxton, which is like there's just nothing really there. Anywhere north.
You're a long way north.
Yeah, north is quite far. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. I used to ride quite often. We used to go up Friday night and ride mini motos. And it used to be quite good. There's a video of me and Spud wheeling on my Instagram, wheeling, and we could just ride there all the time. That was at Swindon Karting, which was like half an hour away. We had 2 indoor go-kart tracks that did mini bikes within like a 20-minute drive. So it was a place to be. I think that's why there's a lot of guys now from our area coming through. Just because we had that facility where we could ride all winter. But yeah, so I can still ride a mini bike, pretty handy. Used to be massive into pit bikes. When it was probably just before COVID, we used to go every weekend to Fab Racing. Used to ride Surf 150s.
Yeah.
Me, Charlie, and Fraser Rogers used to be we used to be so competitive like all the time. Really fun. Then after COVID, everything kind of dried up a little bit. Swindon Karting closed down, which was a shame. But I've recently bought myself an Ovale 190. It's cool. It's like a mini superbike.
Yeah, they're hard work.
They do really ride like actual bikes, though. Like, in comparison to a pit bike.
Yeah.
A pit bike, you ride them, they're a bit shit. Like, let's be honest. But the Ovales are like actually feel like a motorbike when you ride them. It's weird, isn't it?
The thing when you ride a pit bike is none of your body position is relevant. And I thought with them Ovales, it's going to be the same. Like, how can that replicate? But you're in the. I used it trying to come back from a shoulder injury, and everything, all your body is in the right place. It does work.
Just scaled down, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're physical.
It's cool.
After you're done feel out.
When you were coming up through mini bikes, then at that time you would have gone Minimo or to what? What was the thing to do then?
We had Metro kits, which were
so you were still in that era.
Yeah, the Metro kits. Yeah, that was definitely the way forward. I think even now, like, you know, the guys that ride the Metro kits, you know, it's a good thing for them to learn. I think now a lot of guys do both because the Ovales have come on the scene, and they offer a really good platform, real good championship, you know, which takes you to they do like a one-off round a year, like the 2 best riders from each country of the Ovale Championship.
They do a World Series,
which is cool. That's a really good platform. So like any kid growing up now has got the option to do both championships, the Ovale and the Metro kit. I think that works amazingly. But yeah, I grew up on the 2 strokes. I did. I only did a couple of rounds on the 50. I had the 50 class and the 70. I only did a couple of rounds on 50, then went straight to the 70, which was like the top class of fab racing, you know.
And they're run on big go-kart tracks, aren't they?
Yeah, big outdoor go-kart tracks. It was really cool, really competitive. You know, I think most of the riders that you see now on MotoGP or even here, I think a high percentage of them come through
that
there.
route. Yeah.
Did you do Mallory on it? Because they sometimes do Mallory on them, don't they?
Yeah, that was really cool. I never did it on the 70, but I did it when I was about 15 when I was riding here in British Motorstar. But I did 150s as well, and we had to gear them up massive to do Mallory. And we did the was it, you know, at Gerrard's they had the chicane for BSB. We got to do that as well to break the track up a little bit. It was like a group of like 7 of us all slipstreaming each other down the straight at Mallory, but then we'd throw it into Gerrard's flat out. And obviously on motocross bikes, no steering damper, it'd be flat out in 5th gear, getting like a speed wobble in on a massive slipstream. But that were cool. But yeah, a lot of them are just small go-kart tracks, kind of under a kilometre long, say, and you know, just real good fun, really proper racing. You know, we were just good family time for a dad and lad kind of thing. It's good.
Were you saying you was 2-stroke era? Because I'm thinking, he's 22. He's like I'm an old fella. So when you got to the option of like 125s, was it still 125 GP bikes, or was it the the Moto 3 class? Sorry.
So I did this last year of the Aprilia Super Teens. When it was I was the last year.
I remember you doing that.
Yeah, I was the last year of that because to go to BSB like 125s, you had to get a national license. So I was 12. I was the youngest age you could be to get on to the big tracks. And with Dad, we went to where did we go? Went to Donington Park to get my ACU license in the snow in like February, and then luckily I passed it. But I had to do my practice starts right at the back because I couldn't touch the floor on it, because the RS 125 is a massive big heavy bike for a kid, and I couldn't touch the floor on it. But yeah, it was cool to pass that, and then I just literally rode it every single weekend just to get my signatures, you know, to go into the British Motorstar for the year after. So that was really cool. That was probably one of the best years racing I had, to be fair. I ended up winning the championship.
So when you were going through mini bikes and everything, and you went from like Minimo to Metro kit, at what point, and obviously I know you went on to Super Teens, so at what point did you think, like, I want to do this properly, like this could be a thing?
It's tough because I think it's always been a thing.
Don't say like last year.
No. It's always been a thing. I've never had a backup option. Like, I think I'm all in on this, and that's been my mindset from
the first time.
When I was a kid. My dad, he were really like pushing me to do well, you know, for myself. And I think now it's, you know, I'm in a real lucky position and fortunate that, you know, it's now paying off, and you know, I'm there now. Which is amazing, but I think I've always just dreamt of being a motorbike racer, you know, as a kid. So yeah, I was just all in on that.
So when you'd gone through into Super Teens, obviously like did you win the Super Teen Championship?
Yeah.
Like adding your name to a very prestigious list of riders that have done that, and then actually bit of an accolade really to see you won the last ever version in the format that everybody else did it in, before it went on to be a very different thing. Did you come straight to BSB to do Moto 3 then?
Yes.
And that was at the time where there was a sort of split class in British Championship, wasn't there, where you had like the real factory trick Moto 3, like open Moto 3 class, and a standard standard Honda Moto3 class as well, which is what's gone on to format like British Talent Cup and so on.
Yeah, exactly. So I did the final years of that format where you were racing against guys that had gone out and bought the ex World Championship Moto3 bikes, ex Mark VDS bikes, or ex VR46 bikes, KTM, spending so much money on these like factory KTMs. And my first year into it, I was with a team that basically ran a Honda, but it was just a tuned version of the British Talent Cup bike, so it was quite very underpowered, to be fair. But it was a good year, big step up from what I was used to being at national level, and then just learning the craft, I think, of riding a proper Grand Prix bike, at that level on the big tracks with fast riders as well.
Was that the Replicas team that you rode for?
Yeah, with Gary Dawson.
I did a lot for. I don't know if we've ever spoke about Replicast on the podcast before, but for those of you that don't know, Gary's sadly not with me anymore, but I also rode for Gary, and lots of other young lads did. But what he was really, really good at was bringing or giving the opportunity to young lads from club level to come into British Championships. So racing costs money, you basically pay to go to a team normally, but what Replicast were really good at doing was saying like, oh, if you've got a bike, bring it in and we'll help you run it. Or they didn't really charge for rides as such, and they sort of brought people along and made it possible. But and then most of the lads went off to do other stuff, which is brilliant. But it was a really good, a great platform.
He was also one of those blokes that if you needed anything, Gary give you the clothes off his back if it's what you needed. The bloke was. I raced with his son Benji.
Yeah.
When we did the 125, so and Gary was probably one of the first people in the BSB paddock that I got to know, and big loss when someone like that goes, because sort of, especially in that class as well, because that's the foundation of what can go on to be bigger things. We all come into it in that class first, don't we? What was the 125s and the Moto3. And we need that, don't we? So,
you need people like big shout out to Gary. He did a lot for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was one of the riders who came through with Gary with.
Did you struggle understanding him with that strong Barnsley accent?
Yes, because obviously I'm from Wiltshire, and yes, it was a struggle to start with. Obviously, my dad dealt with everything then. I was 13 when this was going on, and he dealt with everything. And when Gary was talking to me, I looked to my dad and I was like, "What did he just say?"
The strong Barnsley accent, brilliant. Yeah.
And what did you do? I remember you riding the Replicas bike, but I don't. And then I remember you riding 600, and I can't remember the bit in between. So what was the path from riding for Gary?
Yeah, so here's where things got pretty exciting. In 2017, I actually went back to that standard category, which is now like the British Talent Cup, on that Honda NSF 250 in the standard class. So I was in the same race with all of those, factory KTMs, but I was just in my own race, but just there or thereabouts. But I managed to win that championship, which was cool because
what year would that have been?
17. That was
right. Yeah.
It was a good year, really good year, because it was like one of those ones where you had to take a step back, but you ended up going 2 steps forward because you're winning, and a lot of people they start to notice you and stuff. And being new to the BSB paddock was cool because I think I needed that as well. I needed that extra lift in myself as well, just to know that I've got it, that confidence that I need when I was 14. And it was actually really cool because that year was the year that Nigel noticed me and started to sponsor me, which is now really cool because 8 years later I'm riding for his team. So
it was actually when you were riding there's something to be said actually about riding the same machinery as your competitors. That doesn't often really happen other than in those types of series. So that in itself is obviously a great platform to get riders noticed. So that's actually when they noticed you then, not when you were sort of dominating the Stock 600 Championship.
Yeah, it was then. It was all the way back then. Well, at the time, me and my brother were still racing at the Fab Championship at the grassroots level, and there was a joint sponsor between the BSB team of FS3 and Fab Racing. So one of the agreements was that the FS3 hospitality would have to come to Fab to host, like the podium presentations and stuff like that. But because my dad did both, he offered to help set it up and stuff at BSBs and things like that. And obviously that relationship then built because obviously we were both doing Fab racing and riding here. And it was just a good thing that I was able to win. So I was able to, impress Nigel. And that was just really cool because obviously he's helped me so much from then on all the way to where I am now. Because then the year after that, I was noticed for the Red Bull Rookies Cup and for the British Talent Cup when, I don't know if you remember it, when it was like that massive tent with the two Arctic lorries and everyone were in all the same leather, the same colour scheme. It was like a fully funded ride, fully paid for, just the same as the Red Bull Rookies. You just had to to get there. That was the only thing you had to pay for.
When you did Standard Motor 3 and you won that championship, was that just you and your dad? Or you in a bit of a team?
No, that was cool. I was with Gary Wilson, who's still runs a really good team now. And obviously he helped me out so much, and later on as well. But his team was probably the best team, at the time, well, even now it's still the best team. I'd definitely, if I ever have a kid out there, Gary could run him like. So I think he's a really good guy.
And then you mentioned just I want to touch on that British Talent Cup period because we had Rhys Irwin on very recently as well, and he's talked about that year and just how fantastic it was, the setup. And obviously you were doing Red Bull Rookies as well, but at that time, so you kind of got to experience both doing it in Britain and in Europe. And you went head to head with Skinner for that championship, didn't you? I have to forgive my ignorance, but who actually won that championship in the end? Was it
Rory?
Sorry to rub salt in the wound.
That's all right.
Great team.
Rory did.
Yeah.
That was cool. Really, probably. It was just a really fun year of racing because it was my first year at like world level doing the Red Bull stuff, but then it was also a championship where there was a massive group of British talent of a variety of ages. Because it was the first year of it, there was like a big backlog of talent, if that makes sense. A big backlog of riders. And they were basically all my friends, like, because we grew up together, racing together. So you were just in the same, imagine being in a team, like, in the same race with all of your friends.
In the same kit, in the same
stuff. It was
all been
so
racing
cool.
for the last 10 years.
Yeah. And it was amazing what they did. But then there was also the fun stuff because they all put you in the same hotel at, like, Valencia GP, same hotel at Aston BSB, same hotel at Silverstone MotoGP. So you just got to have a laugh at your mates because everyone's, just kids and just go nuts, really.
Any like explicit stories that you can't, where you're happy to say anything?
No, we were sensible. Honestly, we actually.
I don't think I believe that.
Actually, when you compare stories to other people that are older than me, they had it much more extreme, I think, to what we had it. We were nothing, not even comparable. But yeah, it was just fun. It was just a really fun year. And then I got to do the Red Bull Rookie stuff as well. And that was a bit more pressure because I was like, British the only Brit. There were me and Dan Jones at the time. We were in it together, two Brits. So it's like, it's weird because you go there, you don't really know anyone. You don't know what they've done. You don't know how fast they are until you're on the track. You don't know their personalities, you don't know their riding style. You never heard of these people before.
Did it change your job a little bit?
Yeah, totally.
Like, because I know you say there's a bit more pressure, but did it change the dynamic of going racing? Yeah. Where you've gone from, right, I'm going with all the boys that I've been racing with for the last 10 years. We know it's going to be a bit of a party, holiday, all racing together. Well, now it's turned into a bit more of a...
Yeah, absolutely. I got a huge wake-up call at the first test of Red Bull Rookies Cup. So obviously I've done a fair amount of winning and running at the front, at British level, which is awesome and, high on confidence. I did the first test at Jerez for Red Bull Rookies, and it was like the last session of the last day. They did put a transponder on your bike and put the lap times on the screen. I thought I was doing pretty decent. Anyway, I come in just to see where I was, because they needed to know the times for a race simulation after. So basically,
you up to this point, no lap times,
no lap times,
anything,
nothing at this point. It's like a 3-day test, and we've had 2.5 days of
just riding.
Riding.
Yeah.
And I thought I was doing okay. And then they do a race simulation at the end, which is where they all line you up in pit lane, and basically the slowest one's first and the fastest one goes at the end, and basically the fastest one's got to catch
Reverse
everyone
grid.
up. Yeah, reverse grid, and they send you off at like, I don't know, a few second intervals kind of thing. So anyway, there's times come out, and I'm looking at the screen, and I've gone up.
You've
on
gone
the first one,
bumped to the top.
and then I'm like, oh, I'm not on there. I must not be on the. My transponder must not have worked. So I said to the guy down, I was like, but where am I? My transponder's not worked. And he's gone up the other screen and said, no, you're there. So I'm off the board, and I'm on the other screen, and that's on stone last on the other screen.
Really?
I was like, I've never really felt like it, and that was such like a kick up the ass for me.
Was there anyone in there with that year who's gone on to Grand Prix or?
Yeah, the Onchu brothers, Acosta, Philip Salak.
Yeah, just a lot of average riders then.
Yeah. That's just a couple. I forgot that if you got like the list out, obviously you'd recognise a few.
I was actually looking at something that Red Bull posted the other day, which was every single champion, Red Bull rookie champion since 2007, which I think was the inception of the program. And some of the names, you're like, Jesus Christ. I mean, the first one's Zarco.
Yeah.
And then not far along in, you've got Martin, and then you've got. Remember Jakob Kornfeil? He was like, basically, it's just a list of doers.
Yeah, but that whole concept and project works. It sets out a goal to do something and achieve something, and it achieves exactly what it sets out to do. Doesn't it? It works. Cool. It does work, and it's proven in the way it does it. I think we're getting somewhere in the UK with it now, with like you say, the Talent Cup and the way they're structuring things. But that Red Bull Rookies Cup is I
think all the things they put around you as well. Like we've had a few riders on that have talked about the experience and stuff, and like what you get from like a media side and from like a mechanical side.
The education of the sport. I know growing up, that was what I never took training seriously, but I bet the path that you've come through, you've had that drilled into you, have you?
Yeah.
From the word go.
Yeah.
Like nutrition, training, looking after yourself, taking your approach to the sport. You need, and that's when they need to be doing it, is when these kids are 12, 13 years old. Start getting them where they understand the importance of eating the right stuff and drinking the right stuff. And,
your sort of career path, what we've talked about up until now, obviously you've done dad and lad stuff. Sorry, mate. Done dad and lad stuff, moved through the ranks of club racing into British Championship with a team, but certainly not a team like what you're in now, and done the stuff in Red Bull Rookies. Then you went to Stock 600, which again, I don't want to downgrade it, but a simple class in terms of you're limited to what you can do. Yeah, there's different manufacturers in the class, but it's not super sport, it's not superbike, and you're probably one of 3 that I'm aware of, maybe 4 riders in the history of BSB that have gone from the Stock 600 class straight into Superbike. How I really want to like delve into that a little bit, because it's a very special thing. Not many people have done it, as we say. But how do you, going from what you would have been doing in Stock 600 to the level in terms of like from a technical point of view and how you're interacting with people? Maybe there's 2 of you in the garage, your dad and a mechanic and your brother or something, to like all of a sudden sat on the British Superbike grid with at least 4 or 5 guys just in that garage, just talking to you, not to mention all the other staff and all the rest of it. Some of them are sitting over here behind me.
Before you answer that, I think that's a good time to bring in your boss.
Yeah.
Because I think it will be interesting for him to answer some of or to be a part of these answers as well, because sorry, Mr. Darren Fry, come sit down.
How are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Because I think this will be a really interesting dynamic on how you think you've gone about it, but then there we go. You don't have to wear them, or you can wear them.
They throw you off.
It's absolutely.
I'm good.
Max's head rolled off with it. So, but I might.
He's not used to technology.
I might just adjust it on there.
Comes from Swindon.
Yeah, but he's up north now.
Yeah, top north.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like...
Sorry.
No, perfect timing. And I remember it happening, and I'm sure you got lots of different responses. And I remember thinking at the time, because this team had been around for, the FS3 team had been around for a while, and I remember thinking at the time, like, what the fuck? Like, not in a rude way, not in who am I to comment, but I'm sure you probably got mixed reviews and mixed stuff, and it would have came with a lot of pressure. But how did you even, when you got offered that opportunity, what was your first thought? Start there.
Sure. I jumped out of my chair when I found out, didn't I?
We chucked you out of the room first, though, didn't we? To give the suspense, make you feel.
Did you go looking for him, or how did that work?
So Julie that works in the office, so we were all sitting around having a conversation, and he sat down a couple of weeks before. I said, mate, what do you want to... Because obviously Nigel's helped him with his racing for a long time, and Nigel kept saying to me, do you think he's ready? Do you think... I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, he must be ready now. I was like, no, just give him another year. Let's do this. And the best thing, to be fair, that happened to you, we put you with Binch, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we set up the Binch deal, and Nigel helped that happen. Grew his confidence, and then, to be fair, then I could see that he was really starting to work the process, and something you touched on earlier. He's been through the hard school in Spain. He's moved away when he was young, had Alberto for a taskmaster, didn't you? And and had some, to be fair, some really horrible times, haven't you? You've had to go with. Not saying that system's horrible, but they're tough.
It's certainly
it's brutal.
It's brutal.
When you're a kid as well, and you are a kid at 13, 14, you haven't experienced life, have you? And you're away from home, and you want to go with your mates and ride your BMX, and
exactly.
Just be.
And these boys aren't.
No,
they're doing hard miles on bicycles. They're being told to eat right, train right.
Yeah.
And they're being told, excuse my French, when they're shit, they're shit. It's like.
Do you think he almost does that though, to say, if I can break you now, you're never going to be whatever.
Exactly.
So down
exactly
the
that.
Road. But the ones that will go through it and persevere,
100%.
That's what he's
and
doing.
Then, the problem with that situation, it also then towards the end of it becomes political, because it's whether you're needed, whether you're not, whether your passport's needed, whether you're not. I know that's a controversial thing, but it definitely. I'm not protecting Max here, but I'm his biggest fan and his biggest critic, aren't I? But we have really good conversations on that. But he was definitely a victim of that specific time.
Right.
Of a political situation, whether you were needed or not. And so when he came back and Nigel helped him on the 600, I said stick him on the 600, and to be fair, and I did say this, sorry, I said he needs toughening up now, because he's had it all on a plate. He needs to find out about chucking it in the back of a van, going racing, fixing the thing to get out for the next race, understanding that side of it, because he's never had to do that, had you?
No, that was the best. Looking back now, that was the best year, because I was playing sailing the whole way through. Everything coming at me on a plate. Yeah, honestly, and that was a year where I had to grow up, because it was like I had, look after me, and I had to come to the workshop, learn how to do my tyres, learn how to do my general maintenance on a motorbike and how it works, and then from that year of just stress, I think, and overloading, thinking what is going on.
I'm gonna win now, because I really don't want to do this again, Darren.
literally. So then when I was able to go to Binch, I appreciated everything so much more,
because you'd had to do it yourself.
Because I had to do it.
Did you do 2 years on the 600?
Yeah.
So you did this. I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yes.
So you did there was your dual hard year, and then with a squad.
It was basically loading the back of his caddy.
Yeah.
With a bike that we'd bought him. Come to the workshop and clean it yourself, work on it yourself. The lads helped you out, didn't they? I'd stay and help you out. We'd put stickers on it and whatever, and
make it look cool.
But I said, you've never had to experience this, and you need to understand this before you can go into a team and understand how hard these guys are working for you.
So you can properly respect the blokes that
are working for you.
And
when he went to Binch said to me, he's the nicest kid going, and he appreciates it, and he says thank you, and mate, that goes such a long way. You guys know, you both worked in the paddock, and you get a rider just at the end of the day says, thanks for everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for rebuilding that bike.
Handshake to everyone in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you want a cup of tea, boys? You're flat out.
Tea's the one,
Yeah.
like, tea
Sorry,
buys a
I
lot.
Completely changes the dynamic though, doesn't it?
Well,
Whereas
they're working for you, not working for the company just doing the job.
Yeah.
They're working because they like you. They want you the best.
Whereas if you got a rock star, I've always said, I've said this a lot, haven't I? Said this to Christian only the other day.
We know he's a bit of a princess.
Yeah. Not in our team and not
you
allowed.
would be if you were that age. If you were as old as he is, then you would be. You know, he needs looking after. And he's tucking it.
Mate, he tried rock starring at the start, and I'm like, nah, ain't gonna work here. Yeah, not happening. Give us your sweets.
Do you know when you put him on the 600 and put him in with Binch, were you, for want of a better word, grooming the job from there? Was it like, right, all right, this is...
Yeah. And it was like...
You always had a 3 or 4 year plan with it.
He said one thing to me that made me switch, which we were on the grid, I think it was at Knockhill. No, sorry, we were in pit lane. And he was like, he was that far ahead of the field on the bike that he was racing the lap records everywhere, weren't you?
That's all I was doing, yeah. So
Well,
the lifeline at the start with Roll It Back was I was able to get the ride at Binch, get the funds for
boss.
it. Right? No, this is my mindset. I'm explaining the mindset. Like
it's always good when he explains his mindset.
Right.
It's brilliant.
No, it is. So the sale of the ZX6 funded a year's ride at a Binch, obviously, and more, and a bit of that funded a big part of the ride. So I knew I had one shot. That was it. So I was like, how am I going to win? That's all you're thinking. So I thought, if I just aim for the lap record, then surely I've got a good chance of winning. And that was it. That was the mindset. Lap record. I'd print off all the TSL sheets in my folder. I'd pin it everywhere, all on my little chair segment. That is the lap record, and I will just keep going until I got it. And then
Why we stop doing that then?
You just shafted yourself there,
that was it.
This is a self-help service that we provide.
Thank you. Yeah. The thing, I've learned the craft now. Now there's no excuses. I guess. But yeah, that was the mindset then. That was
just, I don't care who I'm racing against. I don't care where they're going to be. I am going to be at lap record.
So,
I've got to do a 37, or I've got to do whatever.
And when he sat in pit lane and he said that, he was already nearly a second in front of anyone else. And he went, but I've got to beat the lap record, so I'm going again. And he rolled out pit lane. I thought,
now he's ready.
Now he's ready. So, and then you came to me, didn't you? Sat in the. I said, "What do you want to do next year?"
It was here, wasn't it? 3 years ago.
What do you want to do next year? He went, right. I want to ride the Superbike. I went, all right. And he went, no, I want to ride the Superbike. Give me a chance. I want to ride the Superbike. And again.
So you'd have been 19.
Yeah, and this was happening.
Yeah.
I didn't think.
What do you mean this was happening? You were going to make it out.
This was like when I was saying this stuff. Like looking back, it was quite ballsy to turn to you as like
good.
I'm glad you realised that.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll ride it. Like really putting myself into it.
Did you know you were going to say that? Had you been thinking, I'm fucking riding that thing? I'm going Superbike next year.
Yeah, I did. I'd looked
and he came into the room like that.
And you knew it. You were like,
it was before. Before that little meeting, I was in the pit garage, and Nigel took me to the pit wall, here at Alton, and he watched, Rory and Jacko fly all the Superbikes, wheeling through Deers Leap, sliding it. He was like, "There you go. Do you think you can do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." That's what I kept a poker face. I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." And then I came into that meeting. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Yeah. But honestly, I did doubt myself. I was a little scared. But I'm glad I made it work.
But we all sat there like the week after, and we sat in the sort of meeting table in the workshop, and we got Julie to take him for a cup of tea. So that Nigel says, "I know what the answer's going to be, but just for I'm going to throw my 10 penneth in when we're talking about riders. But I know what Darren's going to say." And me and Ian Presswood have been chatting about it, and he said, I think Max is ready. And I went, "Yeah, and me." And he went, "What?"
Oh.
I was like, "Yeah, I'll do. Let's do it." And he went, but. And I was like, no buts, let's do it. I said, Ian, you in? Yeah. Matt, you in? It's like, you know, we all had a few concerns, but I said, look, let's do it. I've said no for long enough, let's do it. And
did you all have the same concerns?
Yeah, really. It's the concerns you have when you're spending £1 million to go racing each year. It's just like, there's got to be a...
No, I could just imagine you sitting there and someone else throwing another thing in, and them going, I hadn't even thought of that. Fuck, I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, yeah, you get
and then you all sat there going, oh, shit, now what?
Oh, it's always a bit of that.
But you had done a bit of time by that point. I suppose yous do... I never knew all the work you did with Max in the background. I knew you sponsored him, but I didn't know that actually you really had him on a bit of a programme. But also you guys as a team as well, like, had been through that period as well, hadn't you? So you'd done your setting up in Superbike, you'd took your lesser riders, for example.
But by the same token, if you look at the team in the past, you know, Nigel's background is further education, so he's always wanted to help the kids through and whatever. Alan Boyden from AGN Steelstock, he's very much the same. You know, the boy supports Storm and whatever.
He's massive for our sport as well, isn't he?
Huge,
when you look
huge.
Sponsor Speedway riders, he's another one.
And he just loves motorbikes. He doesn't understand why you wouldn't love a motorbike, but what he doesn't understand is why there's not more youngsters in like everybody at his workplace. He'll pay for them to go and do their test.
Yeah.
If they show that, like, motorbike, well, go and do your test. I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that is huge, and he's always saying, "Let's give a youngster a try." And I think weirdly, him and Nigel are quite opposites, but actually really get on really well because they've actually got the same.
The goal is the same.
Yeah, the end goal is the same. But if you look at what we've done, sometimes, like, hands up, it's because we can't afford an expensive rider. You know, and you either spend the money on the kit and take a risk on a rider, or you spend the money on a rider and sometimes you haven't got the money for the kit. You know, and anybody that says that is different than that, other than your Hondas or whatever, that's not. But they've got other political pressures. You know, they're a marketing exercise and they've got to be
doing something. Yeah.
So, you know, from that point of view, we've had Danny Buchan when everybody told us, you can't run Danny, he just crashes anything but a superstock bike, he'll just crash it. We've nurtured him, he went through to win races. I still say to him now, and he agrees now, if he'd have stayed with us another year, we'd have had a go at the championship. The bike was right at the front at the time, he was right at the front, but you know what it's like, somebody who goes and offers you more money in a car, and it's, you know, the starry light. And this is the conversations we've had, haven't we? Because of his age, I'm like, right, let's do you want to do the short term or do you want to do the long term? If you want to do the long term, which is kind of what's happening today, then that's a different proposition. If you want to do the short term and just hop around the British Superbike paddock for the next 20 years, crack on.
Yeah, cream it as much as you can and be done, like, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it always speaks volumes when you see riders that have stayed put. For me, just coming from the world, you know, I've never had to negotiate things like that, but you just think there's a lot to be said for you as the rider that is loyalty
and a commitment. Yeah.
And it also says something about the way that the team is conducting themselves towards you, because you wouldn't hang around if you were being treated like a dog, would you?
Let's get to the nitty gritty question. When you first sat on a superbike,
did your head roll off?
Did you piss or did you shit first?
Both, I think, at the same time. I got to do a track day. This was, when was it? It was just before the last round at Brands Hatch in 2022. It was like a reward of, you know, well done, you won the Stock 6 championship kind of thing. And at this point, the Superbike ride, it weren't, you guys were so nice to me, it weren't on the cards, it was just literally enjoy yourself, just a normal no limits track day.
So you hadn't kicked the front door in at this point?
No,
right,
really,
okay. So this was a little bit of a tester as well, see how it goes. Right?
Yeah, a little bit. And it was, you know, cold, like October day, before.
Did you know that a bit in your head, like, this is me opportunity to sort of shine a bit?
Yes, it was, yes. And then I come out of Donington, steady, down Craner, and come around out of Coppice, and I opened it up and I thought I was going to fly off the back. It was like, whoa, I could not believe how fast it was. You know, I've done a lot of time riding 1,000 stock bikes, you know, stock thousands, you know, spent a fair bit of time, but the Superbike was just a totally different animal. And you had it on a wet map as well. And I couldn't believe it. But then I did get a bit better. But, you know, it was a cold day and I didn't want to crash it at all. I was terrified of crashing it. That was what I just didn't want to do. And to be fair, the whole day I was just kind of riding like that. So I wasn't very fast at all on that track day. But I had a good time. And it was extremely fast. And it wheelied all the time as well. Because at the minute, where you rely so much on the rear brake for the anti-wheelie, now I've got my coordination with my rear brake and my throttle to not wheelie.
Yeah.
Whereas then I had no coordination at all. I've never had to...
Well, you've come off a little bike where you never use your rear brake.
I've not had to fight for a wheelie before. I've never experienced it. So coming out of like Melbourne Loop, I was rubbish. I was so bad. Honestly, it was like wheeling and jolting and putting me through the screen a little bit. So yeah, I got to do that day first, which was a really cool experience.
Then he got all Billy Big Bollocks and threw the door open and went, I want to ride it. No, the most impressive thing about that day was he didn't try and impress.
Yeah, well, that
when he rode the first time round,
I was just thinking
just rode it.
Yeah.
Just done as he was asked, not told. Done as he was asked and didn't try and impress.
But then on the flip side, did you guys make him feel there was no pit board, there was no stopwatch?
It was just go and enjoy yourself. You've done really well. Go and have a go on it.
You'll probably...
That speaks volumes as well, that,
Yeah. At the time, you probably didn't realise that acting the way you did probably put you on that bike. I read in Jason Plato's talks about a similar thing in his book when he tested for Williams and he went out of the pit lane at Silverstone, felt something which he'd experienced before. It was a drive shaft or something, and rather than driving the car back, he stopped and gets on the radio and he's like, oh, it's knackered. Like, I don't think it is. Anyway, he says, no, I'm leaving it. And it turns out it was broken, and if he had drove it back, he wouldn't have done the rest of the test and he wouldn't have got the thing. So it's, I suppose, moments like that in your career that you don't even realise, but you just, it works out how it should, you know. So
yeah.
So that was your first experience of a superbike. You thought, right, and now I've got to. And Donington's probably like one of the nicer places to ride a superbike, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So then I thought, well, what's it like, Grant Cadwell?
Was you the youngest? Was you the youngest lad to go into BSB?
No, Storm was the youngest one. Yeah.
How much younger is Storm than you? Or did he just get in a year earlier?
He got in a couple of years earlier, Storm. Storm did, yeah.
All merged into one for me.
Yeah, there was a bit of just a period where, and it was a good thing, I think, for the sport, but someone, I can't remember who the first one was it Vickers, maybe?
Vickers, yeah.
Or maybe it was
Vickers.
Went straight from
someone before.
Straight from stock as well.
Stock,
and,
didn't he? Yeah.
But didn't do what
and everybody thought. Said it was nuts. But
yeah.
And I think that's good because it opened the door for some fresh blood into the Premier class. Mm-hmm. And so that first, we'll get on to some of the other things in a second, but I'm really interested to know how you approached that first year in Superbike. You've obviously won a championship in Stock 600, which they don't give away.
Yep.
And that requires a lot. How do you then, adding in all of the other factors, how did you, what was your approach going into that winter, getting ready for it? How did you think, right, I'm going to, the year before you were going, I'm going to race lap records. And Dad says, why don't you do that now? But what was your plan?
I think my plan, I was high on confidence when, I'd come and won the championship. I've then gone into, the factory Kawasaki team, FS3. It's a massive deal, for me. And luckily, we got a lot of time in Spain testing. We went for 2 weeks, me and Lee Jackson. We were on the bike pretty much every day in those 2 weeks, which was a massive benefit for me. And each day I got better and better and better. And we did one day at Navarra, didn't we? And ended up getting 9th. Overall, so I was top 10. I was like, this is amazing. I couldn't believe what I did. So I was like, this is it. This is going to be my year. And then I got to Silverstone for round 1, and I got massive stage fright, I think, didn't I? Because everyone had the new kit on, rolling out of pit lane for first. Everyone's in the new liveries, the new stuff.
I think it's a bit imposter syndrome, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit to start with.
What have I done deserve to be here?
Could you see that straight away in him? Could you?
Yeah, it's that rabbit in the headlight thing that people say you could literally. Yeah. He's got big eyes anyway because he comes from Swindon, but he's it's where they do a lot of combining, isn't it? Yes. But he's like, he literally would sit in the chair like eyes wide open. I was like, "You're right." He's like, "Yeah." Like, and I'm like, "No, you're not. You're not." Just so it was. To be fair, it was a year where we just said, "Chill out."
It was different
we know where we're at.
Different dynamic for you as a team, though, right? Because you'd had relatively, you'd had different levels of riders up until that point, but all fair to say experienced.
Yeah.
So that was different.
We'd won races at that point, and all of a sudden we'd like, But if teams don't do this,
then there is
there is no future, is there? And I've said this before. It's like it is that dilemma. Do you get you're spending £1 million? Doesn't matter whether you're spending £1 million and running bloody Marquez on a BSB bike or whoever. You're still spending £1 million.
Yeah,
and you've then got to say, right, what do we want out of this, or what do we think? What will give us? And there's a part of it which what gives you the most pleasure, and the most pleasure is seeing somebody come through.
Well, your investment's paying off a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I think like the dynamic that we've got at the minute is perfect because we brought somebody through, and then we've got somebody really experienced like Christian, and it's like, and they get on amazingly well, and they push each other, and they're within a tenth. That's the perfect dynamic for a team. Youngster and an experienced rider with all that can, and they do, and he is passing on the knowledge and whatever. Before he goes to retirement home, but he's like,
please come and make a reel out of that one just for him.
I tried to give him my glasses today to look at the phone. The messages coming through, and he's like, I don't need glasses. No, but look, joking aside, Christian's he's an amazing rider. He's an amazing example of what to do because he's fit he's ultimate professional. And the best thing is, and I've seen this the other way where they won't do that, he's helping Max, and he's passing on all that knowledge and not necessarily doing it intentionally, but he's open to do that. So as a team, that's great. Take a youngster, have a really experienced rider. If I could keep that forever, I'd keep it forever. So
on that note, is it? Maybe it's a good time to talk about the news that just recently came out today for your plans for the 2026 season. Yeah,
it's been a really exciting day, isn't it? So that has what Nigel describes as grown legs very fast. So the chance meeting at the TT, long story short, with Bill from BBKRT, which was the KRT Works Kawasaki team now running the Bimotas, and we spent the day at the TT, and there was a conversation had then after a couple of beers. I really want to run the Bimotas. He said, it's not possible, and it's a very prestigious thing that we're doing, and maybe in 3 years' time we'll be able to do it, and this, that, and the other. And I said, no, totally understand. We shook hands. Next day we met up by the start line. We were with John and Jackie from Cheshire Mouldings. They were great friends still. And I said, look, if anything ever changes, just give us a shout, or came to Donington. Asked the same question, and he's like, you never give up, do you? I was like, if I don't ask, I don't get. And to be fair, the Kawasaki has been a mega tool. I call it the hammer, don't I? Because it does a job everywhere. Get the hammer out and it'll work everywhere. Might not fix everything, but
close enough.
Exactly. And we've had a brilliant relationship with Kawasaki, etc., etc. So I kept pushing, and we had some other options on the table, and it was really nice that other manufacturers came to us and said, look, if you want to change, this is available, that's available, the other's available. So we had a couple of options, didn't we? But also part of this is going back to Max's future, and I sat down with Max and I said, look, we can do this, but if we do this, that's a short-term fix, and you're going to be one of many. And so if you don't perform on that, suddenly you disappear. There was manufacturer that we talked about that you really wanted to be on last year because it was doing the bit, and I said, look, if you'd have been on that this year like you wanted, you'd have disappeared. So, and to a certain extent, doing what we're doing on the Kawasaki and getting the results we're getting, people aren't expecting it, so he gets noticed. That's good for him.
I think that is quite a big thing, to be honest with you, because there's been a lot of people that I've spoken to that have complimented you, when we've just been shooting the shit and talking to you, having a
you shouldn't be doing that on that bike.
They've said that kid Max is, he's pushing Christian, and I think you are, and I think you've probably put a bit of fire in Christian because he's had to, because he remembers a lot of these racetracks being built. He's that old, he's fucking. There's absolutely no way you're going to smoke it, and you're there. And I can imagine like the rivalry, but like you say, he also wants to put his arm around you, but. Fucking hell, he's there still. I think it's mega.
Well, it's like Christian said, I can't remember which podcast it was, he said, if you don't win on the bike that's winning, you suddenly disappear and become a bit of a nobody.
But the flip side is the bike that everybody's saying,
shouldn't
with all due respect, it's a little bit long in the tooth now. You know, the development hasn't been there. It's not the bike to be on.
Exactly.
But, Assen.
Yeah,
and you are there.
You've had some fantastic rides this year, Thruxton. I remember coming out of my caravan and watching you, and I honest to God thought you had crashed going into that last corner at Thruxton. I was like,
I thought you crashed going into turn one.
I was like, I don't know if he lost the front, the rear, the foot peg. I don't know what he did, but it looks fucking horrendous. But he still went around the corner and finished on the box. You've had some amazing results on the bike this year, yeah.
I'd say it's been like the best year racing that I've had, to be fair. I think I've a lot more headstrong, confident in myself, really working well with the team. I really feel like, I don't know, like myself, like
everything's just right.
Everything's there now, I feel really, and that's why I'm so excited about this new project, for next year.
Sorry, we went off on a tangent, but it was just because I think it is important to say what you guys as a team are achieving this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
just to give credit to that.
I'm super proud of it, and Christian's been a big part of that. And I don't think he realises how much a big part of it he's been. The dynamics in the team is really important to me. The people in the team are really important to me, and I think people massively underestimate the team. Like the team that can take that. Everybody jumped ship on the Kawasaki, and we were like, no, we're in. And we, as a team, have pushed that bike, and the boys have pushed that bike, and I'm really proud of what it's done. Really, really proud. But I'm really proud because the team's done it, and the team, I mean, from mechanics to the girls in the hospo to everybody just gels, don't they? Mm-hmm. When he crashed at Assen, like, we got Christian's bike sorted and everybody was on Max's bike, and it's been vice versa. Nobody, it's not, I'm not doing that, it's not my sort of, and plenty of teams that do that. And I think that is massively important, the team, the team dynamic, and, Christian's openly said, and, I thank him for it, it's like his best team he's ever ridden for. And it's...
Honestly, I spend a lot of time with him, and as you know, getting a compliment out of him is like, it doesn't happen very often. So if he does give you a pat on the back, he means it.
Yeah.
And he has openly said that as well. If he was sat here right now, he would say it. He said, like, there's no egos, the atmosphere's mint, and he's like, the words out of his mouth were, most enjoyable year he's ever had racing, which I think is a big accolade.
It's noticeable even when we sit down and do a catch up, to talk about it, he doesn't ever watch what he's saying, which speaks volumes, doesn't it? Because he's not having to think, I need to just be careful that I don't mention that we had a fucking fallout about that, or I thought that of it. It's there, and
we don't. That's the one big thing with our team. We don't fall out. We have if someone's got a problem, let's go and have a cup of tea. Let's not have an argument. Let's just have a cup of tea.
Cup of tea fixes everything.
But it does, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, somebody wants to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
They want to get it off the chest.
Yeah.
They got a problem with him, and I go, well, yeah, but you got to understand this. Yeah, right, yeah. And we work it out like that, don't we? If we've got a problem, if he's got a problem, he'll ring me and go, Darren, I want to talk something through with you. And we talk it through, and I'll go, look, it's my point of view, understand me your point of view,
but I'm the boss. This is what's happening. Don't pretend that you do.
No, we don't. We just talk it through, and it's like, and I said, look, you know, does that set your mind at rest, or does that? And we've done that a lot with this Bimota project, haven't we? You know, we've talked about it, and yeah, and you know, getting back to that, it's important for me for to keep the relationship with Kawasaki.
Yeah.
They've now got what I'm calling, they'll probably pick me up on this, but a halo brand. They've done, basically, in my mind, sorry about this, Kawasaki, if I get it wrong, but in my mind, they've done very much what like VW have done with Lamborghini and Bugatti and whatever. They took a very famous brand with a lot of expertise in it, and they've took it, and ultimately the DNA is now Kawasaki, but they've been clever with it because they can change the bike very quickly, because you know that was one thing that became very apparent the other day when all this and we suddenly found ourselves in Spain at 10:30 at night waiting for a 7:00 in the morning meeting at the factory, the motor workshops, and we were a bit like, well, that happened quick.
So it went from a flat no the second time you asked, was it?
It's basically a very, very. It's not even a long story, is it? It's like I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. It was no, we can't do it. Then somebody within the organisation said, well, why can't we do it? And I'm like, I like this. And then that was somebody very senior in the organisation, basically, that it had gone all the way to Japan, and there was lots of I can't because of this and because of that, and organisational, and Japanese are very rigid in their not rigid in their thinking, but they like to be very organised, and you don't want to push them, and you got to massively respect their organisation and their you know
well, they evidently know what they're doing.
Exactly, and you don't want to push them, and you don't want to be disrespectful to. But I kind of kept pushing a little bit, and then all of a sudden somebody in the organisation said and then all of a sudden somebody else said, oh yeah, okay, and then suddenly suddenly, so we've got a lot of Japanese, a lot of KM UK, Italians and the Spanish all on calls going, well, maybe. Well, I was like, oh, here we go. So I kept ringing Ross and Craig going, well, what are we thinking today? Oh, just leave it with us. And then all of a sudden we got a phone call going, right, hold on a minute, this is real. We've just got this email which basically says, I showed it you, didn't I? It's like, everyone's on board. It's like, really?
What did you think? Did you think, oh shit? Or did you think,
not at all? I was so excited. Yeah, cool. So excited when Nigel told me like the news. I think the biggest thing is to believe in the project, and I think this is so exciting to be on board with this. You know, it's all new, first manufacturing BSB for 15 years. It's a proper race bike, you know, with like number plates on it. You know, it seems to be doing the business at World Superbike. So I think it's a huge step.
I think it's a big thing for you because, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, you've never ridden any other superbike, and I think this is an opportunity for you to show Max Cook, not the FS3 Kawasaki rider, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the Max Cook, the superbike rider, because I'm going to go and do this job on a Bimota, which is, it's got the same engine or similar.
Yeah, but it's different than a new bike.
It's different, and it's going to be a big step for you, so it's a big opportunity.
But also not that I think you would have that problem with you guys, with FS3, because the team, obviously, you've explained how that's structured, but you're not having to follow anyone either. You're not having to go in with, as you say, well, that's done that, and so-and-so's done that on it, so why aren't you fucking doing it?
Well, in a way...
That's not a factor, is it?
In a way, you could say that you do have that, because you've got what you're currently doing.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
What, on the Kawasaki?
Yeah.
That's got to be at least your benchmark, hasn't it?
Of course it has.
So in terms of you guys as an organisation, expectations for your project in year one, is there our benchmark is what we're doing right now today, and that needs 100%. To be the minimum?
We start where we finised.
Absolutely.
That's got to be the starting point. For us to make it worthwhile doing, is we've got to don't get me wrong, we're realistic as well. We're gonna run into a couple of hills that we're going to have to climb, or there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do over the next. But the big thing for me is the whole conversation that we're having now. So we ended up, like I say, 24 hours later, we were sat outside the door of KRT waiting to go in, and we had the conversations. We looked at the bikes. We weren't allowed to take any pictures because there was another meeting happening Thursday. So this only got finalised like Thursday morning at 11:20.
Thursday just got.
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
So we went out there Wednesday, but anyway, we weren't allowed to do this and the other. But there was a lot of positivity, but there was also a bit of, because they run a race team, they don't want us to interfere with the running of that, and et cetera, et cetera. But we got on great. We went to Rocco's for lunch.
My favourite place.
Your favourite place in the world. And if you've never been there, you can't go there, it's ace. So big flat track and motocross centre right in the industrial estate in Barcelona.
It's right next to the Catalonia.
That's it.
Circuit. It's just come out. It's just there on the
So
right.
that's where the KRT people are based, isn't it?
on that industrial estate. Anyway, we sort of sat there having lunch, and they said, "So, who's coming through BSP then? Who should be looking for?" And I said, "Well, our guys. I see. If you needed a stand-in tomorrow, that's part of this. To me, that's part of this project." And they're like, "All right." So, of course, first thing I'd done was showed them his race one last 2 laps at Thruxton. And am I allowed to swear?
Gosh.
Am I being a...
No, you have to
I
swear.
know, but Grace is here.
But
I was like...
Grace will say, "Why didn't he swear?"
But they just sat there going, fuck, for about, the 2 laps. And they were like, shit, we need to come and watch BSB. Then I showed them Christian winning at Assen.
Were they not aware that you guys as well don't run traction and that the rule?
We explained all that. I had to explain all that to them, because obviously they're in their world of what they do. And again, they were like, all of a sudden you can see it click with them. Oh, okay, these guys know what they're doing. And I don't mean that in a big-headed way, but they're professional. The level of racing is really good. But then the big thing out of that was, we need to come and watch Max at Thruxton. Yeah, and they've said that to me 3 times now. They want to come to Thruxton because they want to see Max go round the outside of everybody at Thruxton.
No pressure.
But as daft as it sounds, that's all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah.
To send his career the right way.
Yeah.
So that's all part of the thinking.
Are you able to tell us how much support you're going to have from the World Superbike?
So basically, that's a relationship grower as far as I'm concerned. There's no point in even putting it down on a piece of paper to me, because if you don't get on with the people, or they don't get on with you, or you don't click or whatever, you're not going to get any, you might get an email returned with, use this wheelbase or whatever. But so we're going out to the test at Jerez after the last round, where we're going to spend 2 days with them in the garage. We've got a contact that's been given to us for which is the technical manager at KRT. He's going to be our contact as far as that's concerned. And then we've got another guy that's going to be part of the Bimota setup that's a chassis expert. He's going to be our contact with Bimota. And obviously Ian has worked within the World Superbike paddock and was also Alex Lowe's crew chief the year he won in BSB, and then he was Lowe's crew chief at Yamaha, Patty Yamaha as well. So he's known within the paddock, which gets you a long way as well. And so he knows a lot of people. That takes a lot of kudos with it, etc., etc. So it's about developing relationships now. We could have something that says you will get this level of support and that level. I don't think that matters if you don't get on with people, or it could be you get no support, but if you get on with the person that can offer you the support. That's how I look at it. So it's about building relationships now. But the initial thing is, Beale's been on the phone today. Oh, the socials are amazing. Wish all that they've just reshared
Does. You sound like such a grander.
I know.
I thought you were going to say retweeted it.
I
then.
nearly did say re-exed.
I've already winded you.
I'm used to all that shit, aren't I? But all that sort of thing, little things like that today, I'm like, that's mega, he's on board.
Yeah.
To me, he's on board.
Is that test at Jerez an opportunity for Max to ride, or is that just for you guys to sort of look in?
So that's a KRT, BB KRT test that we've been invited to
from a technical
standpoint.
Sort of, yeah.
Then we'll be ordering the chassis. Then we'll be able to have access to more factory parts that we've not had. And slowly that's become more and more open to us. So we will end up, I'm 99.9% certain at the start of the year we will end up with a World Superbike spec bike, apart from electronics. We even run the same wheels, and the only other thing is we'll be running K-Tech rather than Showa. So, right. Which they're very happy about, because they want to see the chassis and the engine, the package work with different
that
components.
Collaboration with other manufacturers.
Is Showa a Kawasaki owned company or something, or just a preferred partner?
Just a preferred partner for them. But we got offered the Showa kit, but again we've been with K-Tech a long time. We've been with them from the start. We have James in the garage, the integral part of the team. Mm-hmm. Lathes, and we work very well together. And Kawasaki Bimota were very happy for us to go down
that.
And they've got lots of ideas to go forward and support more national championships going forward, but we're very much.
I was just about to say, is this going to be one of those where we see him in AMA next, and then
well, why not? I mean, it'd be cool, wouldn't it? You know, and it would be cool for us to be part of that to help that happen.
But I think again that speaks volumes about just how good British Superbikes is.
Oh, definitely,
because they're very patriotic as well, aren't they?
They were very much only interested in BSB as a starting point because of its standing and its quality, and they are looking at where the next rides are coming from. You know, Alex has been very helpful as well, and you know he's messaged me today to say, right, Cadwell Park wildcards on. Then so it's like, but wouldn't that be cool? Like, I know it's almost impossible, but wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
wouldn't it be cool? And you know,
never say never, because if the relationship goes out, I think everybody who supports the sport hopes it goes.
Yeah.
Then you got a relationship with those guys.
And even Dom's tried 6 different ways to get to me today to say, he even texted Dunk today to say, ask him in on the radio whether he's doing the TT. Yeah, he's tried everything so far, bless him. He's even
that must be why he hasn't read my messages yet.
But yeah, but wouldn't it be cool to see the Bimota back at the TT?
Yeah,
you know, it's something we've not considered before, but
never say never.
Be cool, wouldn't it?
That was a bit more definite than a never say never.
I like it. I like it.
But ultimately, to see a new manufacturer, okay, I know you can track it back and say, well, it's not a new manufacturer, it's Kawasaki, and it's a new manufacturer.
It is, yeah.
You know, and to have that in the UK, and I'm really excited. I'm not being funny. It's like listening to Nigel's voice. It's like we're starting all over again, isn't it? It's like, yeah, he's like a child at the minute.
You said before ordering chassis. Is it exactly the same engine that you'll be using in the race bike?
No,
it is a different start point.
It's basically the same architecture with different internals.
So you will be building new engines, new platform too.
Yeah, 6 brand new engines, 4 at least chassis, swing arms. It's quite frightening when we saw the parts. It's about 900 parts for the chassis, and you're just like, what? And then you realise there's every washer's like titanium, and but I mean, I don't know whether you've seen it today in the hospital, but it
looks trick.
It's a trick. I was going to say it's a trick.
It's a cool looking thing.
Even the swing arm on the road bike looks like it's made for race bike. Like, it looks fantastic.
But the frame, the whole frame makeup and the chassis on it, when you look at it closely, I think it's something special. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice to see something different.
You can move the engine in the chassis 4 different positions, which they've not even started to work on that yet. So and they're out testing. The other good thing is, like a lot of people say, oh yeah, but you're going to have to develop it.
Not really.
Beale and Gwyn were like, you're not. We're developing it. We'll give you all the information.
Yeah.
You run it like you're running the Kawasaki's, and you'll be fine. And we'll give you the direction that we're going, and
you'll fine tune your bits for your electronics.
We're not going to give you every. It's not going to be an open data source, but we're going to steer you in the right direction, and ultimately you guys don't need us to steer you too much, because I'm not being overconfident, but we've got good guys and they know what they're doing.
You've done a bit.
Yeah. And like they said, it'll become our bike. You'll go down a route, you'll put this bracket there rather than there, and you'll do this there, and we might look at it and go, oh, we could do that.
Did they have any concerns when you explained fully about the championship rules and the fact that there is no traction, and from what they're doing in
they're really
Superbike they're
the opposite.
Have to do it differently. Yeah,
they're the opposite. Cool. They're really excited, and it was quite funny because there's a guy that builds all their engines called Katsu-san, and he's a little Japanese guy, and he walks around with earphones on all the time. He's hilarious, and he knows Ian very well. So he's quite open, and he sort of wandered in the workshop midday. Ian, this be fucking good in BSV. That's all he said. and he was like, really? He's like, oh yeah, really fucking good. Yeah, it's like this. And I was like, oh, right, okay. Well, that kind of answered all the questions, really. I could have gone home then, because he's had all the experience of it, and and then he was saying, but you need this part, and you need this part, and you need this, and don't do that. And all of a sudden, that's what I mean. It opens up.
It sounds like they're as enthusiastic about it as what you are.
I'm always excited for you.
It's perfect for you, isn't it, as a rider, because you know that it's not just your team that's behind you. The bloody manufacturers are like yipping it up to work with you as well. So
so that's what I mean. It's so exciting. That's why this project is. Honestly, it's amazing. So
sorry, we should probably say. So you're staying put.
He's on the spot now.
Yeah.
Right, give me a pen quick. I would say half this project's built around taking Max to where we want to. It would be nice one day. Okay, it'd be nice one day to walk away from doing all this, seeing Max in the position that Alex Lowe's is in.
Yeah,
and you go, we played a big part of that.
Our job's done, sort of thing, and we've had a great time doing it. There you go. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not all about Max, but that would be a really great thing to do, wouldn't it? If you walked away having done 12, 15 years of this and gone, we took him from that to that.
Got 12, 15 years, Chris, you need to be a nursing home.
Yeah. I could give him a brochure.
Oh, we'll give him some stick tonight. Sorry, mate.
You better hope his hearing aids are on low back.
It's you've been very lucky then, really, with the people that you've had around you, because just with us touching on like the Gary Dawson, how he was, and you'll remember Gary from how he was with the young lads coming through, and
without people like that,
you've sort of done the next level of that for with Max, which is mega.
Yeah, but to a certain degree, it's exactly the same job. It just costs more.
Yeah.
Weirdly, it's like you're doing the same thing, and without the likes of Gary, and without the likes of Nigel, and you don't. It's not going to continue. So you've got to have those people. It can't be all about commercial.
Benefit,
return.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't, because it's just, it's just the easiest way to lose a lot of money, but we have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to sound like I'm blowing smoke up your ass or been a kiss ass, because it's easy to come across that way, but I can be very cynical about stuff, and genuinely I've sat here and I've been sort of taken back by, I like a good story. I like a good positive story, and I feel like listening to listening to you two has been positive. It's nice.
Why not do it unless it's positive? To me,
I know, but the world doesn't work that way, does it?
No,
and I think at the minute the world is a fucking horrible place, and you open your phone and it's another load of doom and gloom, and it's another load of bad news, and we're all going to die, and it's all terrible, and it's just nice to hear something positive. And I think that's probably why I'm sat here like enjoying listening to just some good news, because
But let's face it, like, you guys are probably in the position where if you really wanted to, you could actually just sack this off and go and pick any manufacturer you wanted to go to. But in BSB, no one really is, like, other than you guys, I suppose, hugely factory supported. You could go to any manufacturer, buy their Superbike, the bike that's winning, and go and do that. But
I think it's one of many then, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes that you're going to take this project on. I'm personally very excited to see it in the paddock. I think the team clothing looks mega as well. I'm a big fan of the Bimota grey and white, looks cool.
He's trying. That's him priming you up for free clothing. I'll just ask you. I'll do like him. Give me a jacket.
I've already primed him up for that. But no, like, it's just going to be nice to see another livery, another manufacturer. I think it's great for the championship as well. And yeah, personally really excited to see where you get with it.
We'll revisit this time next year.
Yes, I did have one other question before we jump on to Patreon questions. Any scope for anyone to take over the Kawasaki Superbike job and take it on in a different
You beat me
team?
too. I was going to ask that. Yeah.
No, but I really think somebody should.
Yeah,
that's what I didn't know if that was in your plan to maybe support a team into doing that.
The one big thing that the Kawasaki organisation are worried about is losing the focus of the Ninja product.
Yeah.
So that's something we've got to consider. But I really, really think that somebody could take our bikes, take our bikes and have a bloody good season with them. Mm-hmm. One rider team, real focus.
Because it was sad when Suzuki obviously became
exactly.
Well, they disappeared from the grid, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they've withdrawn from racing everywhere other than World Endurance, and it's just, I don't know. It'd be sad if the green disappears.
It'd be great for a one rider team to take some of the kit we've got, and that's not me trying to sell the kit. But it is the sale.
No. But here's the link to the eBay advert.
You better look after him for the last 2 rounds.
But we're going to use a lot of it is going to be
wheels and all of the Superbike.
But
bits,
it would be great to take the Kawasaki and go right to. I'm trying to think of, but somebody that's running a really good super stock team and say, look, we'll give you all the help to run that bike. Take the step up, run it in green.
Yeah.
Jonathan Palmer came up to me at Cadwell and he went, Darren. I was like, God, he's never spoke to me before. I was like, yeah. He's like, you do know you're our favourite team, don't you? I says, what do you mean like this? I says, that's nice of you. And he says, well, you're green. And he said, I can see you in the pack. And I laughed, and he was like, no, seriously. He said, I haven't got a clue who anybody else is. He said, but I see the green bikes coming in. I go, come on, the green bikes. But as daft as it sounds.
It is right. You can always spot where you are, because there's 2 of you, because you're usually
near the back.
Because all year you've been together, haven't you, really?
Yeah.
I do think there's something like synonymous about the Kawasaki brand being in Superbike. Sorry, mate, I'm terrible for it.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm just you'd have to say.
I know. Like all the way from like the early 90s to now, there's always been a representation of green, so it would be sad if there's not there, but things do move on and go, and I'm sure that you're still going to be representing the Kawasaki brand as part of
definitely, and the bike's livery will sort of show that probably more than the World Superbike, etc. That's the plan anyway. And definitely, if you notice on the Bimota trucks, they've all gone from just Bimota to Bimota by Kawasaki now. Because and I think it's important that people know, and it's being but I think it'd be great for, I don't know, somebody like Joe that runs like the Superstock team really, really well, to go right, let's take a step up and do that. And I'd love to go right, there's our data,
Yeah.
You know, there's the kit. We can refresh the engines for you. And it's not a money-making exercise because we're just always going to lose money. It doesn't matter what you do in this, you're going to lose. But it'd be great to keep a green bike on the grid, wouldn't it? So,
yeah.
But yeah, let's see. I mean, you never know. Somebody might take that opportunity. But you can see what the bike's doing. You know, it would be cool, wouldn't it, to keep them both on the grid.
We've got a few Patreon questions. I did read them earlier on. One of them's asking about what's your sandwich or something.
I'm just going to refer. Oh my God!
Your
favourite.
I think Christian must have on some other show.
As Christian is definitely no longer Cress, what sandwich filling would you describe yourself as?
I must have been on something. I must have been somewhere else.
Weird, a little bit. Because like, what do you even say to that? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is a ham sandwich personality? Do you know what I mean? Like, what even is it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's why I love you.
Max, I'm going to say you're more of a tuna and sweet corn kind of guy.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah. Darren, I think you're ham and peas pudding.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Well, actually, this is a good one from Samantha Ring. Max, you've been so impressive this season. Congratulations. My question, if you could design your own special edition livery, what's going on the bike? If you were in charge next year.
I'm just going to have a scan through them.
What's going on the bike?
Colours?
Yeah, colours. I like bright blue, like my helmet. Yeah, bright blue.
He's having a vision
white,
now, isn't he? Look.
Red, like big, just everywhere, just massive colour. Like, so that you can see but it also kind of looks British at the same time, like Union Jack kind of stuff.
Good job you're good at riding, isn't it?
I don't think you're having anything to do with next year's livery.
No.
There's actually some lovely just comments here as well from Kenny just saying he's had like a hell of a season. They're asking, have you ridden next year's bike yet at all? Which I think we've had the answer to is no. And he said that's assuming that you're staying put, but actually we've already answered that question that you are staying put. That being said, you're going to the test with BBKRT, did I say that right? And from like a technical perspective and you guys to get some insight, for those listening that don't know, there's testing ban for BSB in the new year and you can only test on certain days and so on and so forth. So really, a lot of teams who are keeping riders or signing new riders will want to maximise the end of this year, maybe over in Europe. Have you guys got the option to do that?
I don't think we'll have the kit and built up in time to meet that deadline, but one thing that Max did last year, which massively helped his year this year, I think, was we loaded up a trailer and the van, didn't we, that Renault trucks kindly lent us, and safe pack. Sorry, just get that in there. But no, we load those up with, what do we take? Supermotors, everything. Flat trackers, Avalis,
like 10, 11 bikes.
600s. We just load it up and went and put it in a cool place in Alicante, or Murcia, sorry. And you spent most of the winter down there, and I think that's so important just to keep a throttle in your hand.
Yeah.
You know, just even if it's just playing. You know, you're with your mates, you push on harder than you ever push if you don't want to beat your mates, don't you? And I attribute a lot of his step forward this year to that winter. So we're going to try and do that earlier, aren't we?
So and then all the muscle groups as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
You're working all the relevant.
And you can do whatever. I mean, you got a really mega trainer and training program, haven't you? Storm CrossFit, haven't you? And I think that is massive as well, but I think there's nothing like being on the bike.
Yeah.
And I think even Julian would say that to you, isn't he?
Yeah, like I'm training Julian's mega, but he's built me up into a superbike rider. You know, all through my career I've been this tall, but I've almost been starving myself, cycling every day, just trying to keep the weight down. Whereas now I'm on the superbike, it's opposite. I need to try and force myself to eat more and gain muscles, have more strength, and now I'm there. You know, as a superbike rider, I can do 3 races now, no problem. And now it's just about obviously keeping that up, but obviously riding all at the same time, because we only ride 6 months of the year. You know, the BSB season 6 months, and the other 6 months he doesn't really know what else to do. So,
I'm sure Daz reflects that in your wages.
yeah.
Does he have you working in his gaff over the window?
Oh, now and then drag him in. Yeah. I'll say we're going to work on bikes, and then I get him on the forklift. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned how to drive a forklift the other week.
Yeah.
Good.
And you nearly crashed my car.
And
Well, actually, on the topic of, dare I ask about the van in the car park? I've heard a little story about the van roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't know about that.
I do know about
He told me, but he's did a good job of hiding it.
Tell them now.
Yeah, go on, tell me this. I've heard the story like sort of secondhand, but for listeners.
So in that van that we drove to Spain,
The brand new one.
the brand new one.
The brand new one that we were.
So I took it all the way to Spain, no drama with trailer, everything, like
You got a tiny vibe.
perfect,
Yeah.
no problem at all. Then this is about February time. I've been doing all this training and stuff on my own so far, and Christian rocks up. We go all the way to Seville to that new track. Anyway, we got there a bit late, and there a big football match going on at Seville FC, and pulled up to the hotel, cars everywhere, sort of thing. But we had 2 bikes in the back, because we couldn't go to the track and leave them there. So we had to do the underground car park. That was the only choice. So obviously on the thing it said 2.5 meters or whatever it was, and the van was 2.5 meters. It's like, yeah, it'll fit. So we just drove it down a really steep ramp, through the barrier, put the ticket in, through the barrier, and then there was like an air vent and then a bracket with the end of a screw, probably literally that bit overhanging. It just made the most horrific noise. I won't do it for the viewers, but it just made the most horrific noise on the roof, like a tin opener. It just gouged the van. And then I got up on the roof and I couldn't believe it because it was fine. It was actually alright.
No, it wasn't fine.
No, it was alright.
It's not fine now because it's got a big brown mark from one end to the other where it's rusted. and now Nick from Safe Pack doesn't know that's happened, and he's bought the van off a Renault.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you say
he knows now.
He knows now.
You told me to say it.
I just find funny.
No. So all this was Christian's fault.
Obviously, it's always
That's what I'm
Christian's
saying.
fault.
All this it was Christian's fault.
But according to Christian, all of this was Max's fault because he was stood outside watching.
How did
was driving.
Did any of them? What I find amazing is none of them admitted to it. They just left it, said nothing.
Oh, even better than that. It's even better than that. So I get there that night. Was it? No, the next day, wasn't it? I get there next day. I'm going to go. I thought I'll go and see them and see how they're getting on. And Christian was the first time he was out of the bike, and all of a sudden he's going blah 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 blah. When we caught the van last night, and Christian went, I was like, "What van? What have you done like this?"
And
then Christian's like, "It's definitely Max's fault because he was out and he was supposed to be watching." I went, "But you were driving," and he's like, "Yeah, but it can't be my fault, can it? Because I was like,
I can't see."
Yeah. So we done all that, didn't we? Went all through that, went to the track, and Christian at this point hadn't ridden already because of the weather.
Yeah, the weather was bad.
Have you ever seen Christian in a strop?
Yes.
It's so funny. His dad, he won't thank me for this, but it was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we get back that night, we go to the hotel, and Chris is like, "Oh, there's nowhere to park. Can't park anywhere, can't park." So we parked down the street, and I says, "You reckon it'd be all right here?" He's like, yeah, of course it will. Yeah, no problem. Gets to the track in the morning, goes and
Finally dried out.
Chris is like, "Right, finally I get to ride." Opens the back of the van. Somebody had nicked all the leathers, helmets, boots, gloves, just broken the back door. I'm laughing about it now.
At the time.
And it wasn't funny, was it? Christian was like, "That's it, I'm going home, I've had enough." Having a proper strop. And I still keep winding him off about that.
Through his stuff in that.
The arms went in the air. We had the full lady meltdown. He was like, I had to stroke his arm and go, "It's okay, it's all right." And in the end, I actually had to say to him, "Mate,
Right, chill out.
Hold on a second. That bloke there that's just crushed his Ducati and wrecked his Dayanese made-to-measure leathers has just done all." I says, "Your leathers are free. Your helmet's free."
Yeah.
"Yeah, but that was the painted one from such and such." And I went, "I know, and it is really, really shit. But let's not dwell on it. Let's move on. And you did wreck my van." So he's like, okay.
Oh, I just wish I could have been there to see that. But anyway, one final question from me is, both of you individually, it's been great to have you like both on and get both elements of the story, because I think they're obviously connected in many ways. What has been your single biggest highlight throughout all of your BSB careers? And I know that yours is racing F900 at Assen, but maybe
being on the same grid as you,
maybe pick a different one. Yeah,
that genuinely was my highlight of my life. Genuinely, I'm on the same grid. It's just like, yeah, felt really special. And I parked next to him, and he made me a cup of tea at one. Oh no, you didn't make me a cup of tea. No.
I would have.
You just told me I was on the wrong gearing all the time. Yeah. Genuinely, stuff for me has been, and I am going to be soppy now, when you see the lads, all the hard work that goes into it, hours and hours and hours, that's better than any racing I've ever done. You know, to see them highlight, from one of the highlights, massive highlight for me was seeing Christian win, because I think he's deserved it all year.
Yeah.
And I think he should have had plenty more, and some of it's just been bloody bad luck.
I'm glad you didn't. You bet your buzz you didn't give him fourth place bonuses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. But you know, and stuff like, to me, everybody will say Thruxton with Max. You know, but I actually, much bigger step for me was seeing him do so well at Cadwell the week after.
Yeah,
because he's literally gone from hero to zero there for 3 years on the trot, and to master that place, and he's like, that stuff like that is huge, because I know how much work's gone into it. And then silly things for me, like, not silly things, massive thing for me today is seeing that launched, that we've got the kudos to get one of only 4 bikes in the world. So that's my highlights.
That's cool. But yeah, man, obviously I'm not a team owner or anything, I just want to go really fast. And I love, obviously Thruxton were a massive one this year. I think that's so cool, because that's how I know that I can ride, and it feels like I've really got there in the Superbike class now. And to be given the nickname Mad Max, by the way, for me is like absolutely crazy, because I'm not Mad Max at all. But yeah, maybe with the helmet on, that's all. And then the Cadwell to back it up, because every time I've gone to Cadwell, I've never gone well there on a Superbike. I've either put it in the fence or just totally lost my head and finished out the points, and then to have my best weekend ever of BSB and get 2 5ths and a 6th, like that consistency over those 3 races was amazing. It was a huge, like, you know, I don't know, sense of achievement really, because we spent a lot of time there on track days this year, just trying to get my head around it. So yeah, it was a massive step for me.
Mega. Well, long may it continue.
Absolutely, yeah.
Continue.
Congratulations on your news. Best of luck for the weekend. Obviously had a bit of a difficult day all round, I think, today, isn't it? Just weather-wise and conditions and stuff. But best of luck for tomorrow, and best of luck for the 2026 season as well, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again
Cheers.
to OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, JCT Truck and Trailer Rental, and this episode's sponsor, Dock, Solar and Electrical. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks for
Much
having us.
appreciated.
Thank you.